Las Vegas, November 1971. The Sands Hotel showroom was packed. 800 people. Every seat filled. Dean Martin was on stage, halfway through his set, singing "Everybody Loves Somebody." The crowd was happy, relaxed. This was what they came for. Then someone stood up in the middle of the room. A young man, maybe 25 years old, thin, shaking. His eyes were wild. He started shouting, "Stop! Just stop!" The music stopped. Dean stopped singing. Everyone turned to look. The man was screaming now. "You're up there singing, making jokes, while we're dying over there." Security started moving toward him. Dean held up his hand. "Wait." The showroom went silent. The young man's name was Michael Torres. He'd been back from Vietnam for 6 months. 2 tours, infantry, saw things no 25-year-old should ever see. Lost friends, killed people, watched people die. He'd come home different. Everyone said so. His family didn't know how to talk to him. His girlfriend had left. Said she didn't recognize him anymore. He couldn't sleep. Nightmares every night. Explosions, screaming, blood. He couldn't hold a job. Would freeze up. Panic attacks. His hands would shake so bad he couldn't function. The VA hospital gave him pills. They didn't help. Just made him numb. He'd been drinking. A lot. Trying to make the memories stop. Tonight, his brother had brought him to Vegas. "Get out of your head for one night," his brother had said. "See a show. Laugh a little." They'd gotten tickets to Dean Martin's show. Michael had been sitting there, listening to Dean sing about love, about romance, about how wonderful everything was. And something inside him snapped. All those nights in the jungle, all those friends who died, all that pain, all that horror. And here were all these people, safe, comfortable, laughing. Like nothing was happening. Like there wasn't a war going on. Like young men weren't dying every single day. Michael stood up, and he screamed. Dean stood on stage, microphone in hand, looking at Michael. Security was closing in. 2 big men, ready to grab him and throw him out. "Stop," Dean said again. Louder this time. To security. They stopped. Dean looked at Michael. Really looked at him. Saw the shaking hands, the wild eyes, the desperation. Dean had seen that look before. In his brother Bill's eyes after World War II. In friends who'd come back from Korea. He knew what he was seeing. "What's your name?" Dean asked. His voice was calm, gentle. Michael was breathing hard. "What?" "Your name. What's your name?" "Michael. Michael Torres." "Michael, were you in Vietnam?" "2 tours, infantry." "When did you get back?" 6 months ago." Dean nodded slowly. He set down his microphone, walked to the edge of the stage. "Michael, can you come up here?" Michael's brother grabbed his arm. "Mike, sit down, please." But Michael was already moving, walking toward the stage. The crowd parted. Security looked at Dean. Dean waved them off. Michael climbed onto the stage, stood there, shaking, confused, angry, broken. Dean walked over to him, stood face to face. And then Dean did something nobody expected. He hugged him. Not a brief pat on the back, a real hug, holding this trembling, broken young man. "Thank you," Dean said quietly, loud enough for the microphone to catch it. "Thank you for your service." Michael started crying, right there on the stage, in front of 800 people. Dean held him, didn't let go. The showroom was completely silent. Finally, Dean pulled back, kept his hands on Michael's shoulders. "Michael, you're right." "What?" "You're right. I was up here singing, making jokes, while you were over there fighting, dying. And you know what? I didn't earn that." Michael was still crying. Couldn't speak. Dean continued. "I gotta stay here, safe, comfortable, making people laugh. You had to go over there, see things, do things, things that changed you forever. And that's not fair. That's not right." He turned to the crowd. "This young man just came back from Vietnam. He fought for us, for all of us sitting here in our nice clothes, drinking our expensive drinks, watching our shows. He gave up 2 years of his life. He saw his friends die. He killed people. He did things that will haunt him for the rest of his life. And why? So we can be safe, so we can be free, so we can sit here and enjoy ourselves." The crowd was silent. Some people were crying. Dean looked back at Michael. "You said we're up here singing while you're dying over there. And you're right. That's exactly what's happening. And I'm ashamed that I didn't say something about it sooner." Michael wiped his eyes. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have." "No, don't apologize. You have every right to be angry. You have every right to scream. You went to hell and came back, and we're acting like nothing happened." Dean picked up the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is Michael Torres. He's 25 years old. He served 2 tours in Vietnam, and he deserves more than our applause. He deserves our respect, our gratitude, and our help." He turned back to Michael. "Michael, I want you to tell these people something. Anything. What do you want them to know?" Michael looked at the crowd. 800 faces, all staring at him. His voice was shaking. I don't know what to say." "Say whatever you need to say. This is your stage now." Michael took a breath. "We're dying over there. My friends, good men, 19, 20, 21 years old, and nobody here cares. You watch it on TV like it's a movie. But it's real. We're really dying. And when we come home, you look at us like we're broken, like we're crazy, like we're the problem." His voice got stronger, angrier. "I can't sleep. I can't work. I can't be around people. Because every time I close my eyes, I see it. The blood, the bodies, the faces of the men I killed. And I don't know how to make it stop." He was crying again. "I just want it to stop." Dean put his arm around Michael's shoulder. "It will stop. Not today, not tomorrow. But it will get better. And you're not alone. You're not crazy. You're not broken. You're hurt. And hurt can heal." Dean looked at the crowd again. "How many of you in this room have someone who fought in Vietnam? A son, a brother, a friend? Raise your hand." Hands went up. Dozens of them. Maybe 100. Those young men came home different. Some of you don't know how to talk to them anymore. Some of you are scared of them. Some of you think they're broken. Dean's voice got firm. "They're not broken. They're wounded. And they need help. Real help. Not pills, not platitudes. But understanding, patience, love." He turned back to Michael. "Michael, I want to do something for you. I don't know if it'll help. But I want to try." "What?" "I have a friend, a doctor. He works with veterans, helps them deal with what they've seen, what they've done. He's good, really good. And I'm going to pay for you to see him, for as long as you need." Michael stared at him. "Why would you do that?" "Because you fought for me. For all of us. And this is the least I can do." Dean looked at his band. "Can you guys play something quiet? Something gentle?" The piano started. Soft melody. Dean looked at Michael. "Can you stay up here while I finish the show? Just sit right there." He pointed to a stool at the side of the stage. "I want everyone to remember you're here, to remember what you said." Michael nodded, couldn't speak. He sat on the stool. Dean sang. Not his usual upbeat songs, quiet songs. "The Way You Look Tonight." "In the Wee Small Hours of the Morning." Songs about sadness, about loneliness, about pain. And the whole time, Michael sat there, on stage, visible, a reminder. When the show ended, Dean didn't take his usual bow. He walked over to Michael, helped him stand up. "Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Torres, 2 tours in Vietnam, 25 years old. Let's show him what gratitude really looks like." The crowd stood up, all 800 people, applauding, not polite applause, real applause. Some people were crying, some were shouting, "Thank you." Michael stood there, overwhelmed, tears streaming down his face. Dean hugged him again. "You're going to be okay," Dean whispered. "I promise, you're going to be okay." After the show, Dean's manager came backstage. "Dean, what the hell was that?" "That was the right thing to do. You let a drunk Vietnam vet hijack your show." "He wasn't drunk. He was hurting. There's a difference." "The crowd paid to see you perform, not to watch you have a therapy session with some kid." Dean turned to him. His voice was ice. "Those people got something more valuable than a performance tonight. They got a reminder that there's a war going on, that young men are dying, and that when they come home, we need to take care of them. Dean, I'm paying for Michael's treatment, however long it takes, whatever it costs. And if you have a problem with that, find yourself another client." His manager left. Dean kept his promise. He connected Michael with Dr. Raymond Ellis, a psychiatrist who specialized in what they were just starting to call post-traumatic stress disorder. Dean paid for everything. Therapy sessions, 3 times a week, for 2 years. He never told the press, never used it for publicity, just quietly paid the bills. Michael got better, slowly. It wasn't easy. There were setbacks, bad days, days when he thought he'd never be normal again. But he kept going, and gradually, the nightmares lessened. The panic attacks became less frequent. He learned coping mechanisms. ways to deal with the memories without letting them destroy him. In 1973, 2 years after that night, Michael got a job. Mechanic at an auto shop, started dating someone, moved into his own apartment. He wrote Dean a letter. "Dear Mr. Martin, I don't know if you remember me. I'm the guy who ruined your show in November 1971. The guy who stood up and screamed at you while you were singing. I've thought about that night every day for 2 years. Sometimes with shame, sometimes with gratitude. I was at my lowest point that night. I was broken. I was thinking about ending my life. I'd actually planned it, had the gun ready, was going to do it the next day. But then you stopped the show. You listened to me. You hugged me. You told me I wasn't broken, just hurt. And you got me help. Real help. I've been in therapy for 2 years. It's been hard. Really hard. But it's working. I'm getting better. I'm sleeping better. I'm working. I'm living. And it's because of you. You didn't have to do what you did. You could have had security throw me out. You could have ignored me. You could have made me the villain. But you didn't. You made me the hero. You told 800 people that I mattered, that my service mattered, that my pain mattered. I'll never forget that. And I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of what you did for me. Thank you. Michael Torres. Dean kept that letter in his desk drawer, next to other meaningful letters, other moments that mattered. In 1985, Dean was doing an interview with Barbara Walters. She asked about his proudest moment in his career. Dean thought about it. November 1971. A young veteran named Michael Torres stood up during my show, started screaming, said we were singing while he was dying in Vietnam. Barbara leaned forward. "What did you do?" "I stopped the show, brought him on stage, let him speak, told the audience he was a hero." "Why?" "Because he was, is. He fought for us, saw things we'll never see, did things we'll never have to do. And when he came home, we treated him like he was broken, like he was the problem." "What happened to him?" Dean smiled. "He's doing great. Married, 2 kids, owns his own auto repair shop. We still exchange Christmas cards." "You stayed in touch?" "Of course. He's a friend." "Did that night change you?" Dean was quiet for a moment. "Yeah, it did. It reminded me that what I do, entertaining people, it's not the most important thing in the world. It's not as important as what Michael did, what all those young men did. But you kept performing." "I did. Because that's my job. But I tried to remember, to stay humble, to understand that my comfort, my success, my safety, all of it came at a price. And young men like Michael paid that price." When Dean Martin died in 1995, Michael Torres was at the funeral. He stood with the family. Because that's what he was, family. He gave a eulogy that shocked everyone who didn't know the story. In November 1971, I was 25 years old. I'd just come back from Vietnam. I was broken. I had PTSD, though we didn't call it that then. I was planning to kill myself. And then I went to Dean Martin's show. And I ruined it. I stood up in the middle of the showroom and started screaming, told him he was singing while we were dying. And you know what he did? He stopped the show. He brought me on stage. He hugged me. In front of 800 people. He hugged a broken, screaming, crazy veteran. And he said, "You're not broken. You're hurt. And hurt can heal." Then he paid for my therapy. For 2 years. Never told anyone. Never used it for publicity. Just quietly paid the bills and checked in on me. He saved my life, not metaphorically, literally. I was going to kill myself. And he gave me a reason to live. That's who Dean Martin was. Not the cool guy on TV. Not the drunk act. Not the Vegas star. He was a man who saw someone in pain and helped. Without hesitation. Without conditions. Without asking for anything in return. I've spent the last 24 years trying to live up to what he did for me. Trying to be worthy of his belief in me. I have 2 beautiful children. Dean is their middle name. Both of them. Dean. Because Dean Martin gave me a future. He gave me hope. He gave me life. And I'll never forget that. Never. That's the story of November 1971, when a broken veteran stood up during Dean Martin's show and screamed. When Dean could have had him thrown out. When Dean could have ignored him. When Dean could have made him the villain. But instead, Dean stopped everything. Listened to him, honored him, helped him, and saved his life. Not with a grand gesture, not with a charity event, not with publicity, but with compassion, with understanding, with quiet, patient, expensive help that nobody knew about for years. Michael Torres didn't interrupt Dean Martin's show that night. He gave Dean Martin the chance to do the most important thing he'd ever do on stage. Not sing a song, not tell a joke, not entertain, but show compassion, show respect, show love to a young man who'd given everything for his country and gotten nothing back but pain. Dean Martin gave him something back: hope, help, a future. And Michael Torres lived that future, raised his children, built a life, became the man Dean believed he could be. Because one night, in front of 800 witnesses, Dean Martin proved that some things are more important than the show, like honoring the people who fought for your freedom to perform, like helping the people who can't help themselves, like seeing someone in pain and choosing compassion over convenience. That's not entertainment. That's humanity. And that's why, 24 years later, a 49-year-old auto mechanic stood at Dean Martin's funeral and cried like he'd lost his father. Because in a way, he had. Dean Martin hadn't just saved Michael's life. He'd given him a reason to believe that life was worth living, that he mattered, that his service mattered, that his pain mattered, and that he could heal. That's the greatest performance Dean Martin ever gave. Not on stage, but off it. Not for 800 people, but for one. One broken veteran who needed someone to believe in him. Dean Martin believed. And it made all the difference.